Hey, konnichiwa minasan, it's Gray from Akazashi's Tea House over in Japan. How are you doing today? Are you good? Are you Genki? Are you ready for some Godzilla action? Because I know I am. I'm a huge fan of Godzilla, especially since the amazing Godzilla -1 in Japan last year, this year, the rest of the world. I absolutely love that movie. And guess what? This is an IDW comic and I love it. It's a special, oversized, $9.99, so overpriced I know, yeah, but 96-page epic Godzilla 70th anniversary special, like a one-shot. Issue 1 it's called, but look at this. Look at this! Okay, let me give you a quick synopsis for this. Here we go. This is from IDW. They say, celebrating 70 years of Godzilla. Since 1954, Godzilla has been the king of monsters. And what better way to celebrate than with a gigantic anthology of tales that get to the heart of Godzilla's lasting popularity. From the American Old West to modern Tokyo and beyond, this collection features stories of the king of the monsters fighting with his allies like Mothra against old enemies like the terrible Mechagodzilla, reshaping the lives of all who've fallen its path. 9 Titanic stories, it says here, from beloved creators including Joelle Jones, Michael Conrad, Matt Frank, James Stokoe, Adam Gorham, even DiDio, and many more. And this cover, by the way, it says the main cover here is by E.J. Sue, who has one of the stories inside. But yeah, what do I think of this? Is it worth shelling out $9.99 of your hard-earned money? Well, it basically comes down to if you're a Godzilla fan or not. If you're a big Godzilla fan, this is a must-buy. Seriously, there are more great stories than poor stories. In fact, out of the 9 stories, I would really recommend 7. Now that's pretty high for an anthology. You know how it normally goes. You know, you get a few duds here and there, but there are no really bad stories. But there were 2 I was kind of like, on the fence about, not so good. But the rest are very, very good and very different, and kind of each one is unique. Some stunning art in here, really, really good art, and you know, it's Godzilla, so you know what you're going to get. I say give it a shot. Yeah, so if I can get hold of a physical copy of this, I'm going to. I really, really want to get one. I had to make do with digital. It still looks great on digital, but yeah, I want to see and hold it in my hands. I want Godzilla in my hands. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to give you a story summary. Not going to tell too much of the story, just show a few pages from each of them, you know, which ones I enjoyed, showcase some of the art for you. And yeah, at the end I'll give my score, but you can tell this is a big recommend from me this week. Okay, please keep watching. Here we go. In the opening story, written and drawn by James Stokoe, we get this fantastic image of Godzilla fighting Hedorah in Istanbul, Turkey, 1971. Gentlemen, welcome to the anti-megalosaurus force. I love the detail in James Stokoe's drawings here, you can see it. If you've ever read any of his stuff before, you'll have seen that, you know, be aware he just loves this like great attention to detail, the pen strokes. We are introduced to 2 new recruits here, whose names I won't try and butcher here. And basically this is their first field assignment. I'm starting to get Kaiju number 8 vibes from this, don't know about you. They're very eager to serve, but then they're introduced to Lieutenants Ota Murakami and Ken Yoshihara. They head up the Team Godzilla and, you know, you can tell these guys are experienced. Fresh meat for the grinder, huh? As you can tell by the tone of the story, it's funny, it's meant to be a comedy, but again, just getting lost in the detail. You can tell that the artist, James Stokoe, he must enjoy doing these stories so much. I wonder how long it takes him to do a page. Let me skip ahead a few pages so as not to spoil too much, but there's a great fight, and then we see here the aftermath. Guess what? Guess who's got to clean up the mess? Yeah, this really does go full on Kaiju number 8. The Turkish team, the Turkish twosome, they're left to clean it all up, while the Japanese go after Godzilla. They leave this parting advice. Get a mop! And again, I'll skip ahead a few pages to show this fantastic art. Look at this face-off between Hedorah and Godzilla. Hedorah looks huge here. Has he mutated? You'll have to read to find out. The second story I liked is written by DiDio, and it's got art by Joelle Jones. Just let me read from the text box here. Born of the atomic age, it is a living legend. Nature's answer to the destruction humanity inflicts on Earth. It is a cure in these dangerous times that could be worse than the disease. Godzilla. Contagion. We have a young female researcher or scientist who's worried about her creation. It's stronger and more resilient than she could ever have imagined. She's surprised by a general coming to check on her work. He's asking what she's doing working after hours, breaking protocol. It's the virus I developed for the war games. If my simulation is correct, this contagion has exceeded all your goals. The general tells her he's well aware of that and they've already started actively testing it. Are they crazy? What could possibly go wrong? Okay, just let me skip ahead a little bit to show the creature. Look at this. Some kind of giant awful bug monster. Its name is Usuru. Don't you know what you've unleashed on Earth? We see Godzilla and Usuru fight. Can Godzilla resist the radiation, the pestilence from this creature? Maybe not, as it stabs him with its beak. The next story is called Of Gods and Con Artists, written by Danny Law with art by Sebastian Pires. Wasn't very keen on this one. It's okay, nothing terrible, but not a particular standout for me, so I'm going to skip it. The fourth story, In the Shadow of a God, is written and illustrated by Matt Frank, and it has poetry, strangely enough, poetry by Donnie Winter. I've got to say, this art is probably it's almost my favourite in the issue. Look at this double page spread here. Absolutely fantastic. Classic, almost black and white, sepia-like Godzilla scene where he's eating a train carriage. Come on, how awesome is this?
Godzilla.
We're viewing the attack from a young schoolgirl's perspective. Get a bit of the poetry here, let me read it to you. I felt the anger and pain in every bellow. The beast's torpid stride was slowed against the rubble, strained by an eternal flame. Wait a minute, did I say eternal or internal? I'm getting flashbacks to the Bangles here. Skip ahead a few pages to show you this is what you're here for. Come on, Godzilla stomping on a tank. And my God, just look at this. What a great scene. Godzilla using her or his atomic breath. Go, it says in Japanese there. The next story is called Godzilla in the Darkness by E.J. Su. I've got to say, if you're a fan of Peach Momoko's work, it reminds me of her style a little bit. Yeah, definitely getting Peach Momoko vibes especially from Ultimate X-Men. But yeah, look at this. It's a beautiful, simple story of a child and, having nightmares or being scared to go upstairs. What was lurking in the darkness? What could it be? Just a really nice, pleasant story. Great scene here when we first see Godzilla from his perspective. He's looking up, look how giant it looks. So cool. The way it's introduced with just its eyes, and then you see him looking down on him, and then we see him looking up. The perspective change. Yeah, great art. And there's a great moment, a great appearance by a character further on in this story, which I'm not going to spoil, but just show you one more view of Godzilla chasing his little boy. It's cool. There's a little bit of a cartoony style to Godzilla in this, but I love the colours, the minimal colours, and as I was saying, the angles, the perspective. Yeah, great. And great use of the onomatopoeia, the lettering there. Look at that. Screor. I can't even read it. Amazing. And with the next story, we get another good story, The Big One, written and drawn by Adam Gorham, coloured by Adam Guzowski. This is a really cool monster story. I got flashbacks to the movie Tremors. If you've ever seen that kind of feeling to it, although it's not set, in the desert. Just so good. You've got Godzilla fighting this crazy creature here, which looks like a cross between a slug and a snail. Radioactive, no doubt. And smaller, offspring of this creature come into it, and they're attacking the townsfolk here. Yeah, just, like I say, a really good creature feature from the 1950s or 60s. That kind of feel to it. And I like the art. I like the colours too. So yeah, another recommend here. Let me just show you a little bit of the art without spoiling too much. I mean, come on guys, it's the next page. Just look at this. I've blown it up so it doesn't look that great, but such a cool image. Godzilla fighting what I thought was 2 traffic cones, and this monster, it's like, no, I think they're spikes, or they're part of its, protuberances. Is that the right word? No idea. Hector's wife here wonders what's taking poor Hector so long when, oh my God, Hector, what's happened to him? The next story was just kind of okay for me. Not really my thing, but not too bad. Ain't No Place for an Angel, written by Casey Gilly, drawn by Liana Kangas, coloured by Brittany Peer. The basic premise is a small western town just full of women who've gone away to basically escape trouble in their lives, that kind of thing. And they're being visited by something called their queen, which I won't spoil here, but yeah, it was alright. Just, yeah, nothing that great. Not too keen on the art either, sorry about that. As you can see, there is some cool monster action, but it's a very kind of simplistic, cartoony feel to it. But hey, if you like this kind of thing, nothing wrong with that. There were just 2 stories left now. This next one is called In Summation, written by Michael W. Conrad with art by Gege Shal. I gotta say, despite the rather simplistic at times art, I really like this story. It's a story of basically one man's revenge mission. It starts out when he's a baby. It says here, I was born on a day remembered by most as a day of great tragedy. The first modern incident of Godzilla making landfall in Japan. While the ancient being destroyed the city around us, I took my first breaths. They were nearly my last. We get a great image here of inside a Japanese home of a young boy. He's a schoolboy now. In the following years, he came to understand why his father was gone. He lost his father in that first attack. And he dreamed of one day hunting the monster, ripping it from the depths, avenging my father, freeing my people from the paranoia of its possible return. It's really good writing in this one. There's a great moment here when we get the return of Godzilla. He's grown up now, he's a grown young man. And when Godzilla returns, it returns as the saviour of Japan, believe it or not, because we get the classic Mechagodzilla here. The battle between the 2 beasts, the kaiju, was ruinous and deadly for many. But it was clear Godzilla, for reasons unknown to us all, had taken up arms against a threat that certainly would have proved to be more than we could handle. We were all in Godzilla's debt. The final story in the anthology is called Aftermath, written and drawn by Natasha Altorici. This is a story of disaster, of after a huge disaster, people picking up the pieces of their lives, trying to recover, and then finding out a horrible truth about why this happened. So yeah, a very strong environmental message in this final story, but it's good. It's not too heavy-handed. It's a good story. Quite like the art style. Again, a kind of indie style, but it suits the story. And I'll end the story summary with this image here. You can see huge footprints kind of leaving smoking footprints there. The dragged tail, I guess, from Godzilla, and just a wreck of what used to be a village or a town. And there you go. I do hope you enjoyed that look inside the book. Okay, for a score, I'm going to give this, because I'm a Godzilla fan, I'm a little bit biased, I'm going to give this a very strong 8.5 out of 10. Yes, just the price might put some people off a little bit because it is pricey, but it's like a graphic novel, you know, it's 96 pages. Okay, the first variant cover I want to show off is a Sophie Campbell variant. This one, what do you think of this? Very atmospheric. I do like the colour scheme here and the angle looking at Godzilla. Look at those eyes. This next one is the Jeff Zorno 1 in 10 variant. Very colourful, pretty cool. Stylistic look to his design there. Yeah, I've got an almost Transformers feel to it. Do you know what I mean? This next one is by Tom Whalen. It's a 1 in 25 variant. Not too keen on this one, but hey, what do you think? What do I know? I only work here. And the last one I want to show is a 1 in 50, so even rarer, harder to get. A 1 in 50, but it's an Arthur Adams variant. I've just got to say, is pretty awesome. Very tempting that, but hey, I can't afford it on my salary. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the review. As always, I do ask you to please leave a comment. If you're not subscribed, do consider subscribing. It'd be great to have you part of the Wakizashi Tea House Dojo. And yeah, shout out to all the members out there. Thank you so much for your support. I do hope to see you in a future video. This has been Gray from Wakizashi's Tea House, signing off for the night. Sayonara, suckers.
Sayonara, suckers.